he and Rita were married for about 50 years, all total, I guess, from 1920 to 75 when he died. She sold paintings from her home. I floated the rivers in Arkansas a few times and wanted to buy one of his river paintings I'd seen at the Nelson. And so I made an appointment. My secretary was told that I wouldn't meet the artist. He'd be in his studio working. And so I went to the house, and she greeted me, and she had exactly the painting I wanted to buy. And it was on a special wall in the basement, which she used as a gallery, sort of. And so she prepared that for me to see. The minute I saw it, I decided that was what I wanted to buy. And I told her so. And then I asked her the price, and she told me the price. It was 1/3 of what I had just paid for a very expensive house. And I hadn't expected it to be quite so expensive. Just from my facial expression, she decided she wasn't going to let me buy it. And so she didn't. I left without it. But in the meantime, they had a buzzer system in the kitchen. She could hit a buzzer, and he would come in from the studio to see what was going on. They did that with all the visitors that came. If she thought he might want to meet them, then she hits the buzzer. I found that all out much later, but watching her do it from time to time. He came in, sat down. First he said, "Let's go mix a drink," and he had a little table with some bottles and glasses in the dining room. So we mixed a mixed drink each and sat down to talk, facing each other in the front of the fire. He had come in bringing wood for the fire because it was January and very cold. The first thing out of his mouth, he says, I think I hear you like to float the rivers. And I said, yes, are you going this year? And I told him that I had a group going, 12, 15 people. And he said, would it be okay if I went with you? This was in the first 3 or 4 minutes that we were talking. And he had had a heart attack the year before, and back then we didn't have cell phones. When we were out on the river, we were as much as 4 hours away from help. And that went through my head, and I hesitated. I just said, sure, if that's what you want to do. So we planned for him to go on that trip. When his longtime friends found out that he was going to go, they wanted to go too. They didn't want to go in April because it's too cold at night. So when he told me that, I said, okay, well, we'll go the first week of May, make a separate trip for you and your friends, and I'll bring along a couple if I want to, I guess. But anyway, so I organized that trip every year for him the rest of his life. His friends were welcome at the house every evening before dinner. You didn't stay for dinner, but you could come and have a scotch and water or something and talk with him and whichever other friends happened to show up. Usually only one or two. But and so I probably went once a week, maybe. We were just good friends for the one reason, I think, is, well, it sounds silly, but he lived in the future. And so did I. That's the way I live. And we had that in common, and we instantly recognized it probably, and that was the reason that we got along so well. And of course, I admired what he was doing, his work.